Hello and good morning, boys and girls. We are at week 9. I can't believe we are week 9. So, this will be our last week of Read Out Loud. So, this will be the last book I read to you for the school year, boys and girls. So, I hope you've been enjoying these books because I have. I love reading Dan Gutman books, and I'm so happy that I can still read them to you. Now, this week we're going to be reading Mrs. Meyer is on Fire. And I heard this one's a funny one, and I've never read this one, so I'm excited to read it. So today we'll be reading chapters 1 and 2. Now, today I will read chapters 1 and 2. This book has 11 chapters, so I'll see when I have to read 3 chapters in one day. But today I will only be doing chapters 1 and 2. So let's get started. So chapter 1 is called Supervision. Vision is what you see, your vision. Okay. Okay, let's get started. My name is AJ, and I hate birthdays. Well, I don't hate my birthday. I like my birthday, but I don't like it when it's someone else's birthday because they get all the presents. They get all the attention. They get the first piece of cake, and it's not fair. Monday was Crybaby Emily's birthday. And look, there's a picture right there. It was Crybaby Emily's birthday, so we had to spend the whole morning in Mr. Cooper's class being nice to her. Excuse me. I'm so excited to go to your birthday party this weekend, Emily, said Andrea. This annoying girl with curly brown hair. Me too, said Emily, who always agrees with everything that Andrea says. Ugh, disgusting. The guys and me were just happy that Emily didn't invite us to her birthday party. It is sure to be a real snooze fest. After lunch, the most amazing thing in the history of the world happened. Mr. Cooper came running into the class. Well, that's not the amazing part. Mr. Cooper comes running into the class all the time. The amazing part was that he came running into the class carrying a big pizza box. Whoa! Mr. Cooper shouted as he tripped over the garbage can and almost slammed into the whiteboard. Mr. Cooper is the only grown-up that I know who wears a cape. He told us that he's a superhero from the East Pole. I've heard of the North Pole. I've heard of the South Pole. But I've never heard of the East Pole. I think Mr. Cooper may have been yanking our chain. Anyway, don't worry, he shouted as he put the pizza box on his desk. Everything's fine. You're under my supervision. You have supervision? I asked. That is cool. Did you use your supervision to heat up the pizza? Asked my friend Michael, who never ties his shoes. It's not a pizza, said Mr. Cooper as he opened the box. It's a cake. Cake? I love cake. Cake is the best. It's my birthday cake, said Emily, clapping her hands together like it was her birthday or something. Oh, wait, it was her birthday. Emily's mom brought the cake to the front office, Mr. Cooper told us. She made it with her own hands. Big deal. It would be a lot harder to make a hand with someone else's hands. Can I have the first piece? Asked my friend Ryan, who will eat anything, even stuff that isn't food. Emily gets the first piece, of course, said Mr. Cooper. She's the birthday girl. So we all gathered around Mr. Cooper's desk. He stuck 9 candles into the cake and then he lit them. Then the whole class sang, Happy Birthday. Make a wish, Emily, said Andrea. So then Emily closed her eyes. She was probably wishing for some girly girl thing like a Barbie doll instead of something useful like a football. Then she blew out the candles. Or she tried to blow out the candles anyway. Emily was only able to blow out a few of them. So I decided to help her by blowing out the rest of the candles for her. And you'll never believe what happened next. Well, I'm not exactly sure what went wrong. Maybe I blew too hard or something. But the next thing we knew, one of the candles fell off the cake and landed on Emily's shirt. My shirt is on fire! Screamed Emily. Call the fire department! Yelled Alexia, the girl who rides a skateboard all the time. Run for your lives! Shouted Neil, who we call the nude kid even though he wears clothes. Emily was on the floor, freaking out. Have no fear, said Mr. Cooper. This is a job for Cooperman. I thought Mr. Cooper was going to use his superpowers to put out the fire. Like, maybe he could use his supervision to shoot microwave freezing rays out of his eyes or something. That would be cool. But Mr. Cooper didn't do anything like that. He ran over to the door and he grabbed the fire extinguisher off the wall. Stand clear, he shouted, and Mr. Cooper aimed the fire extinguisher at Emily and pulled the trigger. This white foamy stuff shot all over her shirt. Then he sprayed the stuff all over the cake. That foamy goop was everywhere. Fire extinguishers are cool. It would be fun to have a fire extinguisher war. Hooray for Mr. Cooper! Shouted Michael. He put out the fire. He's my hero. He's a superhero. You think Emily would have been grateful that I helped her blow out the candles. You think she'd be happy that she wasn't on fire anymore, but it was just the opposite. My shirt is ruined. It's all your fault, AJ. And my cake is ruined too. Your cake isn't ruined, I told her. It just has more frosting on it now. I was just kidding about the frosting. Fire extinguisher goop probably tastes yucky. But Emily started crying, of course. This is my worst birthday ever, she shouted as she ran out of the room. Sheesh, get a grip. What a crybaby. All she did was catch on fire a little bit. Okay, so that's the end of chapter 1. Let's go to chapter 2. Ready? It's called Fire is Not Funny. It was a bummer that we couldn't eat Emily's birthday cake, but something even worse happened the next morning. We had an assembly. Ugh, assemblies are boring. Our principal, Mr. Klutz, was up on the stage. He has no hair at all, and I mean none. If you closed your eyes and put one hand on Mr. Klutz's head and the other hand on a honeydew, you would never be able to tell which is his head and which is the melon. You'd probably want to eat his head. Mr. Klutz was wearing a t-shirt that said Riot on the front, and on the back it said Reading is our thing. Everything was chit-chatting as usual, so Mr. Klutz, he made a peace sign, which means shut up. So we all stopped talking. There was a little incident in one of our classrooms yesterday, he announced. It was a fire. Mr. Cooper was able to put it out, but if he hadn't acted quickly, the fire could have gotten out of control. Can you imagine if our school had burned down? In my head, I imagined the school burning down. I imagined fire trucks in the street. I imagined flames and smoke everywhere. I imagined kids and teachers jumping out windows. I imagined them landing on trampolines and bouncing back up to the windows. Trampolines are cool. They should have trampolines in our class instead of desks. Or maybe the whole floor could be one big trampoline. Imagining weird stuff is fun. I went back to imagining that the school was burning down. No more school, I shouted, jumping up from my seat. No more school! No more school! I figured everybody was going to jump up from their seats and start chanting like me, like no more school. I looked around and nobody else was standing. Nobody else was chanting. Everybody was looking at me. I hate when that happens. So I sat back down in my seat. It was embarrassing. I wanted to go to Antarctica and live with the penguins. Because of the fire, said Mr. Klutz, I invited a firefighter from the local fire station to come and talk to us about fire safety. Ooh, we all went because firefighters are cool. Suddenly, lights started flashing. Sirens, near, 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 started screaming. A lady came out from behind the curtain. She was wearing a bright yellow raincoat and a red fire hat. She was holding an axe in her hand. Axes are cool, but I don't know why she was carrying one. Hitting a fire with an axe wouldn't be a good way to put it out, if you ask me. You should spray water on a fire or maybe like throw dirt on it. One time, my family went on a camping trip and my dad said that I could pee on our campfire to put it out. That was cool. Peeing on fires was fun. Ew. Anyway, you'll never guess in 1,100,000 years what the lady's name was. And I'm never going to tell you, and nothing you do will make me tell you. I bet you're on pins and needles. If you're on pins and needles, you should get off them and go sit on a chair or a couch or something. Sitting on pins and needles must hurt. Okay, I'll tell you. It was Mrs. Meyer. Let's give a nice round of applause for Mrs. Meyer, said Mr. Klutz. So we all clapped our hands in circles. Thank you, said Mrs. Meyer. It will be easy to remember my name because Meyer rhymes with fire. That's funny, said Mr. Klutz. Oh, there's nothing funny about fire, said Mrs. Meyer. But when I visit schools, I always like to start off with a joke. Why did the fireman wear red suspenders? Why? We all shouted. To hold his pants up, said Mrs. Meyer. Mr. Klutz and Mrs. Meyer started laughing even though she didn't even say anything funny. I didn't get her joke. Suspenders? What are suspenders? If you want to hold your pants up, why not just wear a belt like a normal person? And if the fireman's pants keep falling down all the time, maybe he should get smaller pants. Or he should get a new job that doesn't involve so much running around. And why are the suspenders red anyhow? They could have been any color. I was confused. If you ask me, that joke wasn't funny at all. And that is the end of chapter 2, boys and girls. So we will do chapter 3 starting tomorrow. Okay, so don't forget, boys and girls, this is a friendly reminder. If you have any library books, boys and girls, please tell your family members, your mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, whoever you live with, please tell them to go by the school to drop off your library books. Okay, your library books, they should all have a barcode like this. Okay, and this is the spine. So it should have a spine, the spine label, and the barcode. So please, 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 boys and girls. All right, boys and girls, I hope you have an amazing Monday. And don't forget to watch tomorrow's video, okay? Have an awesome day. Bye, boys and girls.